Chapter 71 Kill Shikigami in a flash and scare away Sakura country. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The two made a copy. Ning-Yi immediately used a cooling talisman. A few seconds later, they were back in the dungeon. What are they doing? Why did they come right back out after going in? What's the deal? Using a cooling talisman like that is such a waste. Are they just rich and showing off? The people from both sides, still facing off outside the dungeon entrance, were completely baffled. They couldn't figure out what Lin Moyu and Ning-Yi were up to. They'd never guessed the two were speedrunning a nightmare difficulty mermaid dungeon and finishing it in 10 minutes flat. Only Jiang Taotao and her crew knew what was really going on. They exchanged shocked glances. Of course, they knew Lin Moyu could solo a mermaid dungeon, but finishing it in 10 minutes? Unbelievable. You'd be hard-pressed to just wander through it in that time. Lin Moyu repeated the process, taking Ning-Yi through the dungeon again. Whoa, this time it took 8 minutes and 58 seconds, over 30 seconds faster than last time. Ning-Yi checked the timer on her communicator. It was counting down from 833. Lin Moyu couldn't help but chuckle. This girl was something else. Others treated the trial like a chore, but Ning-Yi was playing it like a video game. This time, the two didn't jump back in. Instead, they rejoined the Xinxia Empire team. Out of cooling talismans. What a waste of money. Why don't you go back in? Come back in if you've got the guts. The Sakura country people were yelling, all full of disdain, but underneath, their eyes burned with envy, wishing they could snatch the cooling talisman right out of Ning-Yi's hands. Back with the team, Lin Moyu and Ning-Yi teamed up with Jiang Taotao. Jiang Taotao asked, "Did you get it?" Lin Moyu handed the mermaid tears to Jiang Taotao. They were a team for this trial, and as the captain, Jiang Taotao needed to complete the final task. Suddenly, someone pointed at the dungeon and yelled, "The dungeon's gone!" The shout hit everyone like a thunderclap. All eyes snapped to the entrance. The vortex swirling at the entrance flickered a few times, then vanished completely. How did the dungeon disappear? That's impossible. It only disappears when all 3 mermaid tears are obtained. Wait, did that guy just go in 3 times? Could it be that he got the mermaid's tears? They cleared the nightmare difficulty level. Is that even possible? Possible or not, the facts were right there. The dungeon was gone, no more mermaid tears to be found. Let's go, Lin Moyu said quietly. They had the mermaid tears. There was no reason to stick around. Don't let them get away. They must have the mermaid's tears. We have to take them back. Hand over the tears, or you're not leaving here. The Sakura country people were furious and started closing in. The Xinxia Empire side was just as stunned. Someone asked, Jiang Taotao, "Did you really get the mermaid's tears?" Jiang Taotao didn't deny it. "Yes, I have the mermaid tears." Gasps rippled through the crowd. That meant they actually cleared the dungeon, and the last 2 times, they did it with only 2 people. How? Almost everyone was asking themselves the same thing. Ling Zhen was screaming internally, impossible. There's no way they cleared it. But despite his inner turmoil, the Xinxia Empire stood united against the rising pressure from the Sakura country. Xinxia Empire, Xiajing Academy, Qianlong Academy, they formed a battle line. Back off. You little Sakura country punks dare to act tough in front of the Xinxia Empire? If you want to steal the mermaid tears, forget it. Suddenly, a roar ripped through the air. The wind scattered the clouds, revealing 2 massive Shikigami looming above. The Onmyoji, finally stepping out of the shadows, was perched on one of the Shikigami, radiating power. Judging by the sheer force of his aura, he was at least level 30, and Onmyoji was a unique and legendary class from Sakura country, and he had a powerful Shikigami. This wasn't going to be easy. Jiang Taotao tensed up, raising an eyebrow. That guy's at least level 30. Then it hit her. Even a powerhouse like the Mermaid Queen couldn't last more than a couple of minutes against Lin Moyu. No matter how strong this Onmyoji was, there was no way he could clear the Nightmare Mermaid dungeon. Lin Moyu's skeletons were just too strong. With that thought, Jiang Taotao relaxed again. The Onmyoji fixed his gaze on Jiang Taotao. Hand over the mermaid tears, or you're not going anywhere. The two Shikigami turned their heads in unison, their eyes icy as they locked onto Jiang Taotao. Before she could respond, Lin Moyu made his move, a flame flickered in his palm, skill, soul flame. A flame appeared above the head of one of the Shikigami, in a blink, the flame seeped into the Shikigami's body, ah! The Shikigami shrieked, a sound that seemed to tear the sky, the wind howled as the Shikigami twisted and writhed in agony, the Onmyoji's face contorted in fury as he frantically tried to stabilize the Shikigami with his skills, he glared at Lin Moyu. You're dead. Another terrifying Shikigami appeared in the sky, this one was over 10 feet tall, clad in armor, with a snake's head, a human body, and a giant axe clutched in its hand. It immediately dove towards Lin Moyu. Do it! The brawl was back on. Qianlong Academy unleashed a barrage of attacks on the giant axe Shikigami, but their efforts were futile, like throwing pebbles into the ocean. It didn't even make a dent. Everyone realized this Shikigami was a serious threat, the Onmyoji sneered. Your attacks are nothing but tickles to my giant axe. 5 skeleton warriors materialized beside Lin Moyu. He launched himself into the air, meeting the descending giant axe Shikigami head-on, skill, frenzied strike. The skeleton warrior's sword flashed crimson, with the skill activated, his power stat surged to 5,400, making his already terrifying attack even more devastating. The skill doubled his attack power again, bang, bang, bang. The supposedly unstoppable Shikigami was annihilated in an instant, it dissolved into a puff of blue smoke, vanishing into thin air. That was it? Lin Moyu asked, surprised. The seemingly invincible Shikigami turned out to be surprisingly fragile. Everyone else was equally stunned, their attacks were useless, yet Lin Moyu's skeleton had taken down the enemy's Shikigami in a few hits. Was the Shikigami really that weak? Or was the skeleton just that strong? The Shikigami's destruction dealt a crippling blow to its master, the Onmyoji. His face paled, and he coughed up a mouthful of blood. At that moment, Lin Moyu's hand ignited with soul flame once more. The already screaming Shikigami was struck again. 2 skeleton warriors materialized silently beside it, raising their blades. The Shikigami was instantly slain. The Onmyoji screamed again. He desperately steered his remaining Shikigami upwards, putting as much distance as possible between himself and Lin Moyu. He glared at Lin Moyu with a mixture of resentment and fear. Everyone was stunned into silence, the chaotic fighting ground to a halt. All eyes were glued to Lin Moyu, a mixture of awe and terror. How can his skeletons be so powerful? That was a Shikigami. He took it down so easily. What kind of skeleton is that? What's his class? How many levels is he? Questions raced through their minds. The Sakura country people were desperate to know Lin Moyu's class and level, but Lin Moyu was wearing a shield badge, obscuring that information. However, the Onmyoji in the sky knew that Lin Moyu was only level 17, a necromancer. If he could do this much at level 17, then that meant his class was terrifying, and Lin Moyu must have awakened his talent, a talented professional. The Onmyoji knew he had to get this information back. The Xinxia Empire had a powerful professional. With that, he turned his Shikigami around and fled without looking back. Losing 2 Shikigami in such quick succession tore at his heart. 10 skeleton warriors marched forward and stood shoulder to shoulder, forming a barrier. Their bluish-white bodies radiated an eerie light. The large knives in their hands gleamed with cold steel. The soul fire on them danced in the wind. Just looking at them could send the faint of heart running. Facing the skeleton warriors, no one from Sakura country dared to move. Even the Onmyoji had been easily routed. How could they hope to stand against this? Retreat? Or fight? That was a difficult choice. The skeleton warriors began to advance towards the Sakura country contingent, their movements accompanied by a grinding sound. Their knives waved threateningly. As the skeleton warriors advanced, the people of Sakura country retreated. Their morale was fading fast. Once that collapsed, there was no reason to fight. The pressure emanating from the skeleton warriors was overwhelming. When the first person screamed and ran, the Sakura country team crumbled completely. Chapter 72 Chicken Soup Needs Something New. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Xinxia Empire team returned, full of chatter and laughter. Those Sakura country guys were so pathetic, scared out of their minds. Watching them crap their pants was hilarious. So many pros freaked out by a few skeletons. What a waste. He can even whip up nightmare-level dungeons. If he really wanted to, the Sakura Kingdom would be delivering food to his door. Of course, they had to bail. Stay and they'd be toast. Many glanced at Lin Moyu as they spoke. Lin Moyu, who'd been silent the whole time, seemed incredibly mysterious to them. Murmurs and speculations about Lin Moyu's background rippled through the group. Where did he come from? Has to be from one of the top academies. Nah, what would someone from a top college be doing here with us? Besides, those top academy folks are too busy leveling up and tackling high-level dungeons to bother with practice. It's really weird. Who is this god? He doesn't say much, does he? Quiet types are often the most ruthless. The way he iced those Shikigami was brutal. The trip back was easy, filled with the excitement of heading home. Even though they hadn't completed the trial objective, they felt satisfied with the day. Just driving off those Sakura country jerks was enough. The trial itself was secondary. Ling Zhen, however, seethed with displeasure. He kept glancing at Lin Moyu, his eyes filled with a mix of hatred and regret. If he hadn't screwed over Jiang Taotao back then, he could have been one of the people who completed the trial this time. But now, this isn't over. Ling Zhen's heart burned with resentment. The group left the light curtain and returned to the starting point. Just then, Jiang Taotao held out the mission stone and mermaid's tears. Time to turn in the quest. The task stone and mermaid's tears floated into the air. The phantom of the god Shada appeared above them. A beam of light shot from the tower, striking Jiang Taotao's mission stone and the mermaid's tears. A few seconds later, a majestic voice echoed. The trial mission is complete. Return now. The phantom of the god Shada blazed with light, bathing everyone in its glow. They were instantly teleported back. 10 seconds later, they were back at Qianlong Academy. We're back. The trial's over. Phew, glad everyone made it back alive. Don't be silly, it's not that easy to get hurt. Colleges run trials like this 100 times a year. You ever hear about anyone dying? Low-level trials don't kill people. But in those top academies, pros above level 30 die every year. Exactly. For them, our trial is just a game, a joke. Qianlong Academy buzzed with excitement. Everyone was talking about the trial and mostly about Lin Moyu. If it hadn't been for him, they would have had to throw down with the Sakura country guys. There's no guarantee they could have snatched the dungeon away from them. After all, the other team had a high level on Myoji. Ningyi's face had gone pale again. Long-distance teleportation always made her feel queasy. Next time, we are finding somewhere close for the trials. This girl isn't going anywhere too far away ever again. Ningyi lay sprawled on the table, as limp as a dead fish. Jiang Taotao beamed, relaxed now that she was back. Thank you, she said. This trial was really important to me. She sincerely thanked Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu shook his head. No need. Ningyi finally recovered a bit. Taozi, no need to be polite to Mou. He might not talk much, but he's a good guy. Truthfully, Ningyi hadn't known Lin Moyu for long, but somehow, she completely trusted him. Quiet, everyone. A loud voice boomed from above. Everyone looked up. A single figure stood in the air, walking on air, a level 70, third rotation pro. Lin Moyu felt a surge of awe. Professionals could step into the void and fly after reaching level 70 and completing their third rotation. That was true for any professional, even lifestyle professionals. Of course, some individual professionals had the ability to fly earlier, and on Myoji, for example, could borrow a Shikigami to fly, but that was a different story. That's our Dean, Dean Hongshan, Ningyi whispered in Lin Moyu's ear. Lin Moyu nodded slightly, admiration in his eyes. Any pro who managed to complete 3 rotations deserved respect. His high school textbook had stated that the third rotation was unbelievably difficult. Less than 3% of professionals ever completed it. Someone like that was definitely worth admiring, and folks like Baishan were even rarer. There weren't many of them in the whole country. Dean Hongshan scanned the crowd. Looking pleased. This trial is now concluded. The trial's process and results are being analyzed. Your final scores will be sent to your communicators later. Remember, the most important thing in a trial isn't the result, but the journey. Embrace the experience, conquer your fears, and hold on to your belief in victory. That's the purpose of these trials. Completing the trial without casualties and returning safely is more important than anything else. I understand you encountered professionals from the Sakura Kingdom during this trial. We will analyze the situation. Those who performed well will have opportunities to enter top schools. You are dismissed. Dean Hongshan turned and left. Ning Yi sighed dramatically. His speeches are always the same old, same old. Can't he come up with something new? Jiang Taotao smiled, as if humoring a child. Just listen to it. It's encouraging, right? Ning Yi scoffed. I don't need encouragement. What's so great about dangling those top academies in front of us all the time? Jiang Taotao smiled even more brightly. It might not be a big deal to you, but it is to us. Ning Yi fell silent, knowing that Jiang Taotao really wanted to get into a top academy. Even within Xiaojing Academy, there was a huge difference between ordinary students, students from various colleges, and students from top colleges. Whether they were ordinary students or from other colleges, everyone wanted to be accepted into the top academies. Jiang Taotao began dividing up the loot from the dungeon. Lin Moyu brought out his share as well, even though he and Ning Yi had cleared the last 2 rounds. He insisted that they were a team, and everyone should share the spoils. After sorting the items, Ning Yi and Lin Moyu headed to the Imperial Exchange together. These things were useless to Lin Moyu, and he planned to sell them for gold coins. Ning Yi didn't care much about money, so she gave her share to Lin Moyu. Her reason? She didn't have any room in her storage space. Nobody believed that her storage space wasn't small. There was no way she didn't have space. Lin Moyu didn't refuse her kindness and accepted it all. After this experience, the relationship between them seemed to have shifted. Some things didn't need to be explained. At the Imperial Exchange, they sold all the useless silver equipment. This time, they'd found a silver-level mermaid queen dagger in the dungeon. Lin Moyu had originally intended to give it to Ning Yi, but Ning Yi pulled out a better dagger and waved it in front of him. Both were silver rank, but hers had stronger attributes. Black iron level equipment was for level 10 and below. Bronze was for levels 10-20, after level 20, you could upgrade to silver level gear. But even among silver equipment, the attributes varied wildly. The Mermaid Queen was a level 24 boss, but the dungeon itself was only level 20, so the silver level weapons it dropped were just okay. The only upside was that the Mermaid Queen's weapon looked prettier. Silver level weapons ranged from 50,000 to 200,000 gold coins at the Imperial Exchange. The Mermaid Queen's weapons were usually around 70,000. Lin Moyu sold the 2 Mermaid Queen's weapons, plus the other materials they'd gotten, and made 180,000 gold coins. Don't you need a weapon? Ning Yi asked, noticing Lin Moyu was empty-handed. He'd originally had a magic book, but he'd found it too cumbersome and sold it. Lin Moyu shook his head. It's useless to me. He was a necromancer. Even though the class name included mage, neither staves nor magic books gave him any skill bonuses. Lin Moyu figured his class must have its own unique equipment. That small boost to spiritual power wasn't going to help him. Ning Yi scoffed. You need to save up money and buy some basic skill scrolls. Before your second job change, you need to learn all your basic class skills. Lin Moyu listened carefully. He didn't know that, but Ning Yi clearly knew her stuff. Ning Yi transformed into Teacher Ning, lecturing him earnestly. If you don't learn all the basic skills, you'll only be able to use intermediate skill scrolls after your second class change. Awakening a basic skill at that point would be a huge waste of an intermediate scroll. Lin Moyu finally understood. Intermediate skill scrolls could also unlock basic skills, but the price difference between the two was astronomical. If he used an intermediate skill scroll to awaken a basic skill, he'd be throwing money away. Lin Moyu's communicator suddenly rang. When he answered, a deep voice came through. Lin Moyu, report to the Academic Affairs Office. Chapter 73. Everything is expected. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Director Chiu from the Academic Affairs Office stood respectfully to the side. Bai Yuan lounged in the seat that should have been Chiu's. Lin Moyu arrived, surprised to see Bai Yuan, but he didn't show it. Hey, Mr. Bai. Director Chiu. Bai Yuan chuckled, waving Lin Moyu over. I saw the video of your trial. Great job. Is that why you called me in, just to say that? I just did what I was supposed to do, Lin Moyu replied quietly. The trial was all about mermaid tears, and Lin Moyu still didn't know what they were for, but if the school set it up, mermaid tears must be good for something. Bai Yuan smiled, wider now. He isn't arrogant when he wins, or discouraged when he loses. That's exactly the right attitude for a future top player. Do you know what mermaid tears are used for? Lin Moyu shook his head. Bai Yuan grinned. Honestly, not many people know. It's mostly because there's a huge skill gap, and most people just can't use them. Mermaid tears affect the success rate of unlocking talents during the second-class advancement. Lin Moyu was a little surprised. There's a chance to unlock a talent during the second-class advancement, sure, but it's a long shot, maybe 1 in a million. Get it? Lin Moyu figured it was all luck, but apparently there were items that could improve the odds. Even with the surprise, Lin Moyu didn't react much, not even a flicker of the eyes. Bai Yuan looked for a reaction and was disappointed not to find it. Of course, Bai Yuan continued, mermaid tears aren't the only things that can help unlock talents, but they're relatively easy to get. We calculated when and where Mermaid Island would appear, but Sakura country also figured it out. That almost ruined the whole trial. Luckily, you were there. You did a great job. In the Xinxia Empire, we punish those who do wrong and reward those who do right. So, what do you want as a reward? Name it. Bai Yuan spoke at length, but that last line was the important part. Lin Moyu thought for a second. Could you help me find someone? Bai Yuan chuckled. I knew you'd ask that. Didn't you check at the Academic Affairs Office? Your older sister, Lin Mohan, joined the academy last year and transferred to the Creation Seminary at the beginning of this year. That's why you'll only find an empty record. Everyone who transfers to the Creation Seminary gets their files wiped. Lin Moyu finally showed some shock. My sister joined the Creation Seminary. That it was notoriously difficult to get into the Creation Seminary, the best college in the school. Jiang Taotao's dream was to join the Creation Seminary. Ning Yi had told him that he needed to join the Creation Seminary. The Creation Seminary had always been shrouded in mystery for him. He hadn't expected his sister to get there first, but something didn't add up. How could his sister join the Creation Seminary less than 6 months after starting school? People like Jiang Taotao, who were being groomed by the academy, hadn't been able to join. Bai Yuan nodded. She did. But I can't tell you anything about the Creation Seminary. Those are the rules, so, if you have questions, you'll have to join the Creation Seminary yourself and ask her. Until then, you might not see her. Without hesitation, Lin Moyu asked, how do I join the Creation Seminary? Bai Yuan had been ready for the question. He tapped his communicator a few times, and Lin Moyu's device pinged with new information. Okay, I sent you the requirements for joining the Creation Seminary. Take a look when you have time. I was planning on telling you about your sister anyway, so that doesn't count as your reward. Think of something else. Lin Moyu paused. I want a cooling amulet. Director Chiu looked like he'd been expecting the request. Bai Yuan slapped the table, laughing. Old Chiu, am I right? Director Chiu chuckled. You know everything, sir. Bai Yuan had known both of Lin Moyu's requests in advance. He looked at Lin Moyu, a teasing smile on his face. Do you know how valuable cooling amulets are? Even basic ones aren't easy to come by. Lin Moyu nodded. You definitely couldn't just buy them, not even at the school store. Bai Yuan said, let's see. You did great on the exam, winning the national championship. You've already gotten those rewards. We'll put those aside. You deserve a reward for the trial, but that alone isn't enough for a basic cooling amulet, so, I have a task for you. Complete it, and I'll help you get one. Lin Moyu's eyes lit up. Okay. A basic cooling amulet would be incredibly useful. He could train for longer periods and level up faster. Bai Yuan said, you need to reach level 20 before you can take on the task. As for leveling up, ask Director Chiu. He's an expert. Okay, reach level 20 and contact me. Lin Moyu now had Bai Yuan's contact information. He'd get to level 20 and contact Bai Yuan, get the cooling amulet, join the creation seminary, and find his sister. Lin Moyu had a goal. After Bai Yuan left, Director Chiu finally reclaimed his seat. He looked at Lin Moyu with a smile. From Bai Yuan's attitude, it was clear that he thought highly of the young man. Chiu knew what Bai Yuan was like usually. He'd never seen him treat anyone so nicely. Even the top geniuses in the creation seminary got scolded by Bai Yuan. Bai Yuan's behavior toward Lin Moyu was on another level. If he didn't know Lin Moyu's background, he would have thought he was Bai Yuan's kid. Director Chiu smiled. There are plenty of ways to level up, but running solo instances is the fastest. But solo instances are hard and risky. Most people can only handle normal difficulty, and some can't even beat the final boss. Besides solo instances, you can look for elite monster areas in the wild. There are plenty of those. But those areas are crowded, and you'll have to fight for territory. Or, you can hunt wild bosses. They give a lot of experience, more than dungeon bosses, and you can get good gear. But the major guilds control the wild bosses, and most people don't know when they respawn. Director Chiu mentioned a lot of methods, but aside from the reliable instance runs, the rest were impractical. Those ideas were for regular players, not Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu knew that, but he listened anyway. Even if it didn't apply to him, it was still information. It might be useful later. For example, Director Chiu mentioned shared monster zones between countries, which Lin Moyu hadn't heard of before. Director Chiu talked for a good 10 minutes. Seeing that Lin Moyu hadn't responded, he finally paused. Mr. Bai was right, you don't talk much. Okay, no more jokes, give me your ID, and I'll take care of the paperwork. Lin Moyu handed over his ID. Director Chiu quickly processed it and gave Lin Moyu a special-looking teleportation stone. This is a dungeon hall teleportation stone within the school. You can use it to teleport to the school's dungeon hall. Go there if you want to grind instances. Oh, and this stone costs 1,000 points. It's already been deducted from your point card. In college, everything was a transaction. If you wanted something, you had to pay for it, with labor, points, or gold. There was no such thing as a free lunch. After leaving the academic affairs office, Lin Moyu thought about contacting Ning Yi. He'd promised to help her level up, and he couldn't break that promise. His communicator vibrated. A message from Ning Yi. Something came up. I'll be gone for a few days. I'll contact you when I get back. Chapter 74 Dungeon Palace. Spend a small amount of money to do big things. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ning Yi's a no-show, probably got caught up with something again. The first time I met her, she was on a mission too. Not really surprising. I guess everyone at Xia Jing Academy's always hustling. Nobody's got time to chill. The new recruits are hitting campus in a few days. That's when classes kick off, and things'll get even crazier. Instead of hitting the teleporter, I checked the message Bai Yuan sent. Creation Seminary Admission Requirements. Level 30 minimum. Just that first one hit me hard. Sis, she's over level 30 already. Damn, that was fast. From Bai Yuan's info, Lin Mohan only joined the seminary 3 or 4 months after enrolling, so, she jumped from level 16 to level 30 in that time. That's insane. Usually, it takes about a year to go from level 20 to 30, unless she's pulling solo nightmare level dungeons like I am, but there aren't many who can do that. No clue how Lin Mohan leveled up so fast. Guess I'll have to ask when I see her. Alright, next requirement. Clear the level 30, Abyss Front, dungeon on Hell difficulty. Okay, that's gonna be tough. Hell difficulty's way harder than Nightmare. Clearing it demands top-tier skills, gear, class build, and mental fortitude. Average teams need not apply, only elite squads stand a chance. When I hit 30, I'll see if I can solo it. Never even considered teaming up. Going solo is the only way to go. Third requirement, 1000 contribution points. These aren't just regular points, you only get them by completing school assignments or doing stuff that benefits the school, like this Mermaid Island trial. That should get me some, no idea how many yet. Gotta have contribution points to get into a top-tier school. Jiang Taotao said the trials were crucial for her. If she wants a shot at those elite academies, she's gotta rack them up. Just 3 requirements. But none of them are a walk in the park. Made a mental note, then activated the teleporter. The noise was deafening, sounded like a madhouse. Boneyard Dungeon, normal difficulty, need a level 25-ish mage, fire skills a plus. Blood Fighting Orc Legion Dungeon, nightmare difficulty, LFM healer, levels 22 to 25, proficient healing required, bronze gear preferred. Tower of Darkness, nightmare difficulty, looking for a knight, level 30 plus, full silver gear, must buff teammates. The environment was like a freaking swap meet, totally threw me off. The dungeon hall's supposed to be inside the school, but you can't get there the normal way, only after getting the thumbs up from the academic affairs office and shelling out 1000 points for a special teleporter can you enter. I thought the hall would be all solemn and sacred, guess not. Looks like a free-for-all. Students were sitting on the ground, signs in hand, shouting out their needs, pretty much the same as the entrances to any dungeon. Seriously, is this really the dungeon hall? Did I take a wrong turn somewhere? Looking past the crowd, I spotted a massive palace. That had to be it. I headed inside. The noise cut off the second I stepped through the entrance. People were still talking, but everyone was whispering, and there was this weird sound, like a low hum, all around. The sound was coming from vortex-shaped dungeon entrances scattered all over the hall. Each one made a different noise, hundreds of these things, all overlapping to create a seriously strange vibe. Each entrance had a crystal ball. Next to it, the ball displayed all the info, dungeon name, level requirements, entry rules, cooldown, etc. Back in Shihai No. 1 middle school, I knew the Empire had tons of dungeon resources, but Xiajing Academy was on another level. This world's got countless dungeons. I guess it makes sense that the top school in the Xinxia Empire would have its own stash. Baishan came from here. After all, actually, more than half of the top dogs in the Xinxia Empire went to Xiajing. Above each entrance, there was a light curtain hanging down. The dungeon's records were displayed on it. Only the top 3 were shown, and only on the highest difficulty. So, if a dungeon had hell difficulty, only the top 3 hell clears were listed. If it only went up to nightmare, then it was the top 3 nightmare runs, included the clear time, team member names, levels, classes, the whole shebang. Could be useful for reference. Teams could copy successful strategies if they could improve on it and set a new record. Even better, it was a competitive setup. Teams would be chomping at the bit to take the top spot. Being on the dungeon leaderboard was a huge honor. Hey, excuse me. A soft voice broke my train of thought. I turned around and saw a girl, early 20s, standing behind me. She took a deep breath, like she was psyching herself up. Hi. Is this your first time in the dungeon hall? That I nodded. She went on, I'm Shu Han. I can give you the rundown on everything here. Nothing's free. There's always a catch, especially at Xiajing Academy. If you want something, you gotta pay for it. And what's that gonna cost me? I asked. 100 points, she said quickly. She seemed a little nervous. Maybe she's never done this before. 100 points, doesn't sound like much, but points are hard to come by. Actually, 100's not that small. I hesitated for a sec. Seeing I wasn't jumping at the offer, Shu Han said, 70 points. Would 70 points work? Nah, 100's fine. That I transferred 100 points to her. She let out a relieved sigh and gave me a sweet smile. Thanks. So, the dungeon hall is basically the gateway to all the dungeons. There are 2 dungeons below level 20, 18 from level 20 to 30, and 20 from 30 to 40. The rest, 52 in total, are level 40 to 70. On top of that, there are 2 large dungeons and 1 super large dungeon. 95 dungeons in all. Large meant more than 40 people. Super large was another name for a 100-player dungeon. What about dungeons above level 70? I asked. Shu Han shook her head. They're not here. That I figured as much. They're probably managed directly by the school, too valuable to just let anyone wander in and out. The materials and gear that dropped in those dungeons were super useful. Shuhan went on to explain the other features of the dungeon hall. It was mostly stuff I could have figured out on my own, but having someone explain it all saved me a lot of time and it only cost me 100 points. I still had over 130,000, so 100 was just a drop in the bucket. Each dungeon has a record of the fastest clear time. If you set a new record, you get a reward. The entry requirements vary, too. Most just have a basic level requirement, but some need a certain average level. And some have minimum or maximum level requirements for the team. Lots of dungeons, lots of different rules. Any that don't have level requirements at all? I asked. Shuhan shook her head. There used to be, but someone died in one. It was too dangerous. The school made them set a minimum level, or you can't get in. There are still plenty of dungeons without level requirements out in the wild, though. There's a big difference between entering a dungeon through the hall and entering one in the wild. The hall's way safer, you can leave the dungeon at any time, bail out if things get too dicey, big boost to safety. Unless you get one shot, you're not likely to die. Basically, you get what you pay for. From the level requirements to the leaderboards, I could see what the school was trying to do. They wanted to train students, start with low-level dungeons and work your way up, while making sure everyone stayed safe. The students at Xiajing Academy were all talented. Losing even one would be a major blow, so, safety was a priority. The level requirements made sure you didn't bite off more than you could chew. Chapter 75, so it was just a little guy less than level 20. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Shuhan knew how to get things done right, and she explained everything clearly. Lin Moyu felt like he'd gotten a great deal for a small price, totally worth it. Thanks to Shuhan's explanation, Lin Moyu now understood the dungeon hall's rules. Besides meeting the dungeon's level requirements, you also had to pay points to enter. At Xiajing Academy, everything revolved around points. Even dungeons, the higher the dungeon's level, the more points it cost. You could also spend points to bypass the dungeon's cooldown time. Even without a cooldown amulet, you could grind a dungeon repeatedly as long as you had enough points. Lin Moyu was pleasantly surprised. This meant he could level up a lot faster. Shuhan led Lin Moyu to the center of the dungeon hall. Several crystal balls were arranged there. Shuhan explained, this is the dungeon hall's mission board and team recruitment center. The mission board has lots of tasks, mostly collecting materials, equipment, and special items from different dungeons. You can earn points by completing missions, or you can post your own missions to collect specific materials. The Team Recruitment Center is for forming groups. You can post ads looking for teammates or join existing teams. Both functions were useful, but everything came back to points. Whether it was the mission board or the recruitment center, it all cost points. Posting a mission required points, and a cut was taken from the points you earned for completing them. You needed points to post team recruitment ads, but joining a team was free. At Xiajing Academy, points were the only currency that mattered. After half an hour, Shuhan had explained everything about the dungeon hall. Do you have any other questions? Just then, Lin Moyu's communicator vibrated. He'd received 50 contribution points, the reward for the Mermaid Island trial. Not much, and still far from the 1,000 points needed to join Chuangshan Academy. Lin Moyu asked, how do you earn contribution points? Shuhan clarified, are you asking about the Academy's contribution points? Lin Moyu nodded. Shuhan said, there aren't many ways. Participating in Academy trials is one way. You can also earn them by completing tasks assigned by the school. Some missions on the mission board are issued by the Academy. Completing them earns you contribution points. But those missions are super popular, and they're usually snapped up quickly. Everyone wants contribution points to join an academy. Lin Moyu checked the mission board. There were a few Academy-issued tasks, however, the contribution points awarded were very low, usually 2 or 3 points, with one offering 10 at most. Contribution points are hard to come by. Lin Moyu suddenly felt that 50 points was a lot. Jiang Taotao and the others probably didn't get that many. The communicator rang, he answered, and a high-pitched voice shouted. Dude, how many contribution points did you get? I got 20. I'm rolling in dough. Tauzi scored 30 points and she's freaking stoked, Lin Moyu said quietly, 50 points. No way. Tauzi was right, you're the man with the most points. Taking 50 points at once is more than I've earned on entire missions. If there's a trial mission in the future, I'm teaming up with you. I'm gonna ride your coattails, Duan Gao excitedly went on before hanging up. Shu Han was staring, dumbfounded. 50 contribution points for a trial mission. Contribution points were hard to come by, not just Shu Han, but everyone nearby was stunned. What kind of trial mission earned 50 contribution points? They'd all done trial missions, and 5 or 10 points was the usual reward, maybe 20 if you did exceptionally well. 50 points was unheard of, unless it was an advanced trial after second rank. No way, there's no way it was that many points. I haven't heard of any high-level trials recently, and he doesn't look very strong. He's totally blowing smoke. Lin Moyu ignored the whispers and said to Shu Han, thanks. Best 100 points I've ever spent. Shu Han quickly shook her head. You're welcome. That's what you paid for. So, are you heading to a dungeon now? Lin Moyu walked over to a dungeon, Mutation Forest, a level 17 dungeon. Professionals between level 15 and 19 could enter. There were only 2 low-level dungeons under level 20 in the entire hall. Mutation Forest was one of them. It cost 10 points to enter and 40 points to bypass the cooldown timer. The dungeon record was 58 minutes. Set 3 years earlier, the record-setting team consisted of 5 players, a knight, a prophet, and 3 mages, all level 19, and they had a full set of bronze equipment. The 3 mages' powerful damage output let them advance quickly. The record had stood for 3 years, and no one had beaten it. The second best time was an hour and 17 minutes, almost 20 minutes slower. Lin Moyu paid 10 points and selected Nightmare difficulty before entering the dungeon. The onlookers in the dungeon hall immediately exploded when they saw him enter the low-level dungeon. Whoa, I thought he was some big shot. Turns out he's just a low-level chump. Exactly, acting all high and mighty. 50 contribution points from a trial mission. Yeah, right. I bet he doesn't make it far solo. People didn't believe him when he said he had gotten 50 contribution points from the trial. Now that he'd entered a low-level dungeon, they couldn't help but laugh. They thought Lin Moyu was full of hot air, but Shu Han wasn't so sure. There was something about Lin Moyu. He seemed confident, like he had everything figured out. Maybe he's telling the truth. The thought surprised her. 50 contribution points. You'd have to do something incredible to earn that. She couldn't even imagine it. Lin Moyu found himself in an ancient forest. The wind rustled the leaves, a thick layer of dead leaves covered the ground. It felt untouched for centuries. The roars of wild animals echoed through the forest, setting people on edge. Wild animals could be seen roaming even from the edge of the forest. The beasts inside the mutation forest had been affected by mysterious forces, causing them to mutate. Bears, tigers, wolves, and all sorts of other beasts. Some were hidden in the bushes. Snakes and mutated insects were among them. If you weren't careful, you could easily be ambushed. Break the record, get rewarded. Lin Moyu considered it. A large number of skeleton warriors appeared around him, 108 in total, a decent number. The ones damaged by the Mermaid Queen were fully recovered. Let's go. The skeleton warriors marched into the forest, their bones clicking. Mutated grizzly, enhanced elite monster, level, 17, strength, 1400, agility, 1000, spirit, 500, endurance, 1600, skill, roaring attack, mutated white tiger, enhanced elite monster, level, 18, strength, 1700, agility, 1500, spirit, 400, endurance, 1500, skill, roar. He scanned the 2 beasts with the detection spell. Their stats were nothing compared to the skeleton warriors' total of 5400. The skeleton warriors charged into the forest like tigers among sheep. Each monster died in 3 hits. Killed a level 17 mutated grizzly, experience plus 6000. Obtained animal hide *5. Killed a level 18 mutated white tiger, experience plus 7,000. Obtained animal hide *4, the notification filled the screen, his experience points steadily increased. Entering the dungeon, my experience was 17, 32.57%. I wonder how much experience I'll get after clearing it. Chapter 76 Super Hard Turtle, New Record. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Following his skeleton army, Lin Moyu moved through the perilous mutant forest on foot. The forest was teeming with monsters, but they were too spread out. Lin Moyu didn't even bother trying to lure them, better to just take them down quickly. He didn't even need 3 skills, 2 slashes were all it took. Efficiency was the name of the game. He was practically mowing them down. Lin Moyu even had to jog to keep up with his skeleton warriors. No boss-level monsters in this whole place, that he'd been pushing forward for ages without encountering a single one, mostly just packs of wolves. The skeleton warriors would swarm them, cutting them down without mercy. Lin Moyu barely had time to loot before the battle was over. This dungeon felt even easier than the Shihai mine, but it was huge, and with no sense of direction, Lin Moyu almost got lost several times. After wandering around for 30 minutes, he finally reached the end of dungeon 583. Beside a large pool, several massive beasts were napping. He'd seen wolves, dogs, and snakes before, but never a bizarre mix of tigers and bears. This is just messed up. Mutated beasts don't usually hang out together. Maybe they're smart. 2 bears and 2 tigers formed a strange guard detail, and these were massive specimens. The bears, especially, had to be over 15 feet tall when they stood up. A bit surprising, sure, but to Lin Moyu, they were just walking experience points. Without hesitation, the skeleton warriors charged. No fancy tactics, just a brutal, straightforward attack. Before Lin Moyu could even use his analyze skill, the bear-tiger combo was already falling to the skeletons. With a splash, a geyser erupted. From the pool a huge turtle-like beast crawled out. Its thick shell covered its body like armor. The shell was easily 15 feet in diameter. Its mouth gaped open, revealing rows of sharp fangs. A long, whip-like tail covered in barbs trailed behind it. The turtle lumbered out of the pool with a snarl. Mutated flood turtle, leader-level monster. Level 19. Strength 4,000. Agility 500. Spirit 500. Constitution 7,000. Skills, bite, sweep, super defense. This boss had incredible constitution, even higher than the skeleton warriors, and surpassing even the level 24 mermaid queen. That high constitution meant it had insane vitality in defense. Its strength was a bit lower, but still formidable enough to damage the skeleton warriors. While Lin Moyu checked out its stats, the skeleton warriors had already surrounded it. Their blades slammed against the shell with metallic clangs. The turtle snapped at the skeletons with its teeth while lashing out with its barbed tail. The size difference was massive. When the tail connected, it sent the skeleton warriors flying, even though they weren't actually hurt. Normally, the tail was tucked into the shell, but when it started whipping around, it extended to at least 30 feet. Each swing sent several skeleton warriors sprawling. The skeletons jumped on top of it, hacking at the shell, but with such high constitution, its defense and vitality were ridiculously strong. Their attacks barely scratched it. Low agility and spirit. Doesn't matter how strong you are if you can't hit anything. Lin Moyu's palm glowed red. Skill, slow curse. A red net of light descended. Red, shackle-like pattern appeared on the mutant turtle's head. Its speed plummeted under the curse. The mutant turtle seemed to be attacking less frequently, a sign it was working. Sensing it was in trouble, it retreated completely into its shell. A faint shimmer emanated from it. Skill, super defense. In the dim light, Lin Moyu saw its wounds rapidly closing. The skeleton warriors had been doing a little damage, but now they couldn't even make a dent. Even previous injuries were healing. With its already ridiculous constitution, plus this skill, the mutant turtle was now an impenetrable fortress. I must be missing something. Lin Moyu thought. If his skeleton warriors couldn't even beat it, how could other classes get through this? Then it hit him. The top teams all ran magic for damage, no melee or archers. It's weak to elemental attacks. Flame burst to life in his palm. Skill, soul flame. At the same time, a flame appeared on the top of the mutant turtle's head. The flames rapidly sank into its body. The previously motionless creature thrashed violently, emitting an ear-splitting scream. Lin Moyu was still a mage at heart. While he had the super physical attack power of the skeleton warriors, his own magic skills were nothing to scoff at. More importantly, this particular skill boosted his spirit attack by 20 levels and ignored defense, making it even more deadly than elemental attacks from most mages. Seeing it work, Lin Moyu continued to cast Soul Flame. The mutant turtle's screams intensified, its massive body convulsing. It desperately tried to reach Lin Moyu, but the skeleton warriors stood firm, blocking its every move. When it extended its head and limbs, the skeleton seized the opportunity to avoid the shell and target its vulnerable spots. Red light flared on the skeleton warriors' blades as they activated their skills. Flesh and blood flew everywhere. The mutant turtle's screams became even more piercing. Lin Moyu continued to cast Soul Flame, rapidly draining his mana. He pulled out a bottle of basic spirit potion and chugged it down. The mutant turtle's vitality was insane. He worried he might run out of mana before he could finish it and he would be back to square one. Then he thought of something. Flip it over. On command, the skeleton warriors acted in unison. Their combined strength exploded, and with a thunderous crash, the mutant turtle was on its back. Its vulnerable belly was exposed. Without the shell's protection, the skeleton warriors finally had an opening, and every strike dealt massive damage. The mutant turtle thrashed wildly, but it couldn't right itself. Blood flowed, staining the pool crimson. The mutant turtle's struggles weakened. After 3 minutes of sustained attacks, the mutant turtle finally died. Killed. Mutated Flood Turtle. Experience plus 150,000. Obtained bronze level weapon, Flood Turtle Gloves. Obtained bronze level armor, Heavy Turtle Armor. Obtained low level Monster Crystal Nucleus. Flood Turtle Gloves, bronze level, Strength plus 20, Constitution plus 20, Fist type skill power increased by 6%, usable after level 12. Heavy Turtle Armor, bronze level, Constitution plus 30, Defense type skill power increased by 6%, usable after level 12. More bronze gear. Lin Moyu glanced at the stats and stashed it away. His experience had increased from 32.57% to 67%, almost a 35% boost. One more run and he would be level 18. Just as Lin Moyu defeated the mutant turtle, a bell chimed in the dungeon hall. The sound echoed through the entire space. 3 chimes in a row. Everyone inside and outside the hall heard it. No way, someone just set a new dungeon record. It's been ages since a new record was set. Let's go see who it is. Maybe I can hitch a ride. I didn't see any elite teams enter the capital earlier. It's weird. Excitement exploded in the hall. People poured in. Fortunately, the hall was massive. Even with hundreds of people, there was plenty of room. On the screen showing the mutated forest dungeon, a new record appeared, and everyone was drawn to it. Chapter 77. No one can break it in 100 years. You are listening at novelfull.audio. There were hundreds of eyes glued to the field, and nobody could believe the new record. You could hear people swallowing hard. Someone pointed, a look of total disbelief on their face, at the new record flashing on the screen. Seriously? He soloed the Nightmare Dungeon. Okay, it's just a level 17 low-level dungeon, but still, nobody can handle that alone. That's not even the craziest part. He did it in 50 minutes. That's 9 minutes faster than the old record. How'd he even do that? This Lin Moyu guy is a necromancer. What is that? Never even heard of it. Everyone shook their heads. Me neither. Must be a new class. Yeah, has to be. Never heard of it before. Could it be a legendary class? As the murmuring grew, Lin Moyu walked out of the dungeon entrance. He's out. Hey, kid, how did you do that? Okay, some people can solo nightmare dungeons, but how did you break the record while you were at it? Hey, boss, can I tag along sometime? Lin Moyu was mobbed. The corners of his mouth twitched. He looked up at the new record he'd set and understood what all the fuss was about. Then, he paid the points to skip the cooldown. The next second, Lin Moyu was back in the dungeon. He went back in. Solo again. Doesn't he ever get tired? Okay, let's back off and not scare him. He's only level 17, after all. Right? Some dude who's level 30 was calling him boss and begging to be carried. Shameless. As the crowd talked, most of them finally drifted away. Shu Han was still there, her face showing stunned surprise. That was incredible. Is it true he got 50 contribution points during the trial? Just after entering the dungeon, Lin Moyu's communicator buzzed. A message popped up, new record in mutated forest dungeon. Reward, 1000 points, 5 contribution points. One-time reward only. Lin Moyu was surprised. Setting a dungeon record got you points and contribution points. Too bad it was a one-time thing, but that made sense. Otherwise, people would exploit it. Experienced teams could just keep shaving off seconds to keep breaking the record. The school wasn't going to let that happen. Still, getting the contribution points was a nice surprise. Lin Moyu just wanted to level up, plain and simple. The skeleton warriors were already charging ahead. The 108 skeleton warriors once again tore through the forest, making the beasts and monsters look like sheep in a wolf's den. With the experience from last time, he didn't get lost, and he was moving much faster. In just 20 minutes, Lin Moyu reached the end of the dungeon. The skeleton warriors charged, and in the blink of an eye, there were 4 more corpses lying beside the pool. A geyser shot into the sky, and the mutated turtle boss crawled out of the water. Boom. 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 Skill, corpse burst. 4 deafening explosions rocked the area, and the mutated turtle died before it could even react. As the spray rained down, the pool suddenly seemed shallower. A massive crater appeared on the ground, and the mutated turtle was a mess of bruises. Flip it. The skeleton warriors, ready for this, rushed forward. Nobody had ever fought like this before. No class could summon that many allies. The mutated turtle was far too heavy to flip over under normal circumstances. With a screech, the mutated turtle landed on its back, exposing its vulnerable underbelly. From that moment on, its fate was sealed. Actually, its fate was sealed the moment it crawled out of the pool. The skeleton warriors swarmed it, using their skills in rapid succession. Skill, Frenzied Strike. Gleaming red greatswords crashed down on its belly. Blood gushed out like a fountain. It was even easier than last time. First, it was stunned by the corpse burst, and then the skeleton warriors piled on with everything they had. In just 1 minute, the mutated turtle was dead. Mutated turtle slain. Experience plus 150,000. Obtained a bronze level weapon, Turtle Bow. Obtained a low-level monster crystal core. Turtle Bow, bronze level, agility plus 40. Bow skill power plus 6%. Requires level 12. In the dungeon lobby, the announcement bell chimed again. The people who had just left the dungeon ran back. What's going on? Another new record? It's the mutated forest again. And the time is even better. I'm going to faint. Someone tell me this isn't real. This is impossible. The new record was 24 minutes and 32 seconds. Not only had he broken the 30-minute barrier, but he'd also smashed through the 25-minute mark. The previous record had stood for over 3 years, 58 minutes, and that had been set by a perfectly optimized 5-person team. Lin Moyu had soloed it and set a record that seemed impossible to beat. It was ridiculously difficult to break the old record. That's why it had stood for so long. I bet nobody breaks this record in 100 years. 100? Try 500. This just isn't possible. It's not even fair. Think he'll go to other dungeons and set new records there, too? Probably. I just don't get how he took down that old turtle at the end. That thing is tough. The turtle has insane defense against physical attacks. Only elemental attacks can hurt it. He's a necromancer, so it's not surprising he knows elemental attacks. It's just way too fast. It used to take me an hour just to kill the turtle. I just don't know how he did it. It's incredible. Lin Moyu was glowing. As the mutated turtle fell, he had finally leveled up. He reached level 18, it hadn't even been half a day since he changed classes. He had gone from level 1 to level 18 in that time. It was ridiculously fast. His stats went up again, and the skeleton warriors for main stats were now at 5800. After these 2 dungeon runs, Lin Moyu could also see the skeleton warriors' weaknesses. While their physical attacks were strong, they were also basic. Against monsters with high physical defense, the skeleton warrior would be much less effective. The soul flame skill made up for that weakness, but it wasn't efficient against bosses and was limited by his mana pool. Necromancers can't just be about skeleton warriors. Time to level up some more. When I hit level 20, I'll buy some skill scrolls and see if I can get some new abilities. He wouldn't use any more skill scrolls before level 20, even if there were level 10 skills he hadn't learned. The success rate for the scrolls would be really low. Better to wait until level 20 and use them all at once. His class was unique, and unlike other classes, he couldn't learn skills any other way. Skill scrolls were his only option. Lin Moyu didn't even know how many skills there were for his class. Being the first and only necromancer had its downsides. There wasn't even anyone to ask for advice. He would just have to use as many skill scrolls as he could to get them all. Luckily, 100,000 elementary skill scrolls weren't too expensive, but intermediate skill scrolls cost 10 million each, which was a bit scary. One step at a time. Don't overthink it. Lin Moyu stepped out of the dungeon. He found himself surrounded again, but this time, the crowd was much calmer. Hey, can you tell us how you killed the mutated turtle? Yeah, how were you so fast? Any tips you can share? Many people were asking Lin Moyu for advice. Lin Moyu just shrugged. I just flipped it over. Flipped it over. Everyone realized what he meant. Someone exclaimed, that's it. Why didn't I think of that? The turtle has a hard shell, but its stomach is soft. Just flip him. Lin Moyu is a genius. That's such a great idea. As the crowd talked, Lin Moyu headed toward the next dungeon, level 20 dungeon, Spider Lair. Entry requirements, levels 18-22, the minimum level was 18. The maximum level couldn't be higher than 22. Chapter 78 Leveling Holy Land, Material Holy Land. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Below level 20, you've basically got 2 choices, the Mutant Forest and the Spider Lair. The Mutant Forest is a level 17 dungeon, pretty easy to get into, with level requirements between 15 and 19, then there's the Spider Lair, level 20, requiring you to be between level 18 and 22, these 2 dungeons show you how strict the school is about matching dungeon level to student level. It's a system designed to help students grow. As you level up and gain combat experience, they loosen the reins a bit. Nightmare difficulty. Let's do this. Lin Moyu ponied up 10 points and dove into the instance. The wind howled through the cave, sounding like a baby crying. It came in gusts, eerie and unsettling. The cave was pitch black. Lin Moyu could barely see a thing. He summoned a flame in his palm. The soul flame wasn't targeting anything. It just floated there, providing light. It wasn't much light, barely enough to see anything, but Lin Moyu got a general idea of his surroundings. Rock walls enclosed him, with only a single narrow passage leading off into the unknown. The rock walls were riddled with holes, some tiny as a thumb, others big enough to fit a fist. Spiderwebs hung thick overhead. The sound of spiders skittering around in the wind was enough to give you the creeps. It was called the Spider Lair, after all. This was their world. Suddenly, a swarm of skeleton warriors materialized, their dark soul fire casting long, dancing shadows. They charged down the passage. The Spider Lair was a twisted maze. The skeletons fanned out, scattering through the tunnels. In Lin Moyu's mind, a map was rapidly expanding and filling in. The nest was a warren of interconnected caves. Some caves had multiple exits. They formed a sprawling, honeycomb-like labyrinth stretching in every direction. The skeletons continued to spread out, each forging its own path. Soon, one of them ran into a monster. Combat initiated. Killed a level 20 Scarlet Spider, experience plus 9,000. Obtain Spider Silk *5. Killed a level 19 Long-Haired Spider, experience plus 8,000. Obtain Spider Silk *4. Messages popped up constantly as the skeletons engaged in battle. slowing their mapping progress. Things were getting weird, and crowded, judging by the experience points. These were souped-up elite monsters, the skeletons were getting jumped every few steps. Spiders are sneaky, lurking in the cave ceilings, waiting to ambush unsuspecting prey. Lin Moyu cautiously advanced along one of the cleared paths. It was his first time in a dungeon like this, so he was being extra careful. Suddenly, he heard a skittering sound. In the dim light, he saw hundreds of small spiders emerging from the rock walls. Each one was about the size of a fist. They swarmed out, completely covering the cave in the blink of an eye. There had to be hundreds of them. Surrounding him, little spider, level, 18, strength, 200, agility, 200, intelligence, 100, constitution, 200, skill, none, just your average, run-of-the-mill monster, weaker even than regular ones of the same level, but there were so many. Enough ants can kill an elephant, as they say. Lin Moyu figured the top teams in the spider lair must have at least 2 mages. Mages excel at crowd control, probably their way of dealing with this. The same team holds the top scores in both the spider lair and the mutant forest. 1 hour and 12 minutes. Damn. And that was 3 years ago. Lin Moyu thought to himself. The soul flame in his palm shot out. It landed on one of the small spiders. The 20x buffed soul flame could instantly kill ordinary monsters of the same level, and these little spiders had a measly 200 constitution, weaker than regular level 18 monsters. The little spider shrieked and instantly turned to ash. The fire went out, plunging the cave into darkness. Boom. A massive explosion rocked the cave. The deafening blast echoed through the spider's nest. The nest rumbled and shook, waking up countless more spiders. Before the other skeletons could even arrive, they were already crawling out. Boom. 2 more explosions, and the cave felt like it was about to collapse. When Lin Moyu's palm lit up again, there wasn't a single living spider in the cave. Hundreds of messages flooded Lin Moyu's screen. Killed a level 18 spider, experience plus 500. Killed a level 18 little spider, experience plus 500. Obtained spider silk *1. Killed a level 18 spider. Experience plus 500. Each little spider only gave 500 experience points, but it added up. 20 of them were worth more than 1 enhanced elite monster, and just now, he'd taken out 300 or 400. That was like killing over 20 enhanced elites in one go. Jackpot. Lin Moyu's eyes lit up, and he cracked a rare smile. He realized the tunnels ahead were probably crawling with these little spiders, drawn out by the explosions. This is an XP goldmine. Lin Moyu thought, then his expression changed slightly. His skeletons were taking damage. The little spiders were swarming them. They were gnawing on the skeletons with their tiny fangs. Not much damage, but they were fast. The skeleton's health was steadily dropping. Too many ants can kill an elephant. It was really happening. He'd seen skeletons take down dragons, but now the tables were turned. Lin Moyu's first instinct was to recall the skeletons, but he realized he couldn't. The little spiders were clinging to them, making recall impossible. The skeletons didn't have any good crowd control abilities, and their sword swings could only kill a couple spiders at a time. A drop in the bucket. Fall back. Lin Moyu commanded the skeletons to retreat. Even if he couldn't recall them, they had to retreat, otherwise, they'd be picked clean. The skeletons turned tail and ran, covered in spiders. Trailing behind them was an army of spiders of all shapes and sizes. The skeletons, who had breezed through countless dungeons, cutting down enemies like butter, that were now running away in terror. Lin Moyu realized that while powerful, the skeletons had weaknesses. Their limitations were significant. He could only hope for new skills at level 20. A skeleton came into view. Lin Moyu raised his hand. Skill, corpse explosion. Boom! The blast wiped out all the spiders clinging to the skeleton. Then the skeleton continued its retreat, with explosions echoing all the way. The spider's nest shook violently. On the verge of collapse, Lin Moyu used corpse explosion to clear a path, and his experience soared. Back in the dungeon hall. A group of people watched Lin Moyu enter the spider lair instance. Think he'll break another record? Not so fast, one said. The spider lair is a tough dungeon. If I wasn't already over level 22, I'd run it a few more times. Yeah, the spider lair is a material goldmine. You can make bank. Besides the money, the XP is insane. Each spider doesn't give much, but it adds up. Some level 24 dungeons don't give as much as the spider lair. The XP really depends on your class. If you don't have a mage, or your mage can't use group attacks, you're screwed. Everyone was excited and eager to see if Lin Moyu would break another record. Meanwhile, inside the dungeon, Lin Moyu was slaughtering everything in sight, or rather, exploding everything. He used corpse explosion to push forward. Countless XP and materials rained down. Lin Moyu left no stone unturned. Instead of sending the skeletons out on their own, he kept them together in a group of 10 to clear the way. Lin Moyu followed closely behind, blowing up anything that moved, while everyone else tried to find the fastest route to the end. He was determined to clear the entire dungeon. He wasn't letting a single monster survive. Chapter 79 Experience Holy Land, the best copy below level 25. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Every second ticked by. An hour later, Lin Moyu still hadn't emerged from the dungeon. The people waiting outside started to lose hope. Many figured this was just how it was going to be. Before, Lin Moyu had broken records because he'd found a new strategy. Now, his performance in the spider's nest was just normal. Even if he doesn't break a new record, beating Nightmare solo is still seriously impressive. True, but the spider lair is kind of unique. The jump in difficulty from normal to Nightmare isn't as huge as in other dungeons. Yeah, at least the little spiders are just as tough, there are just more of them. Let's head out, no record breaking this time. Shuhan watched the dungeon entrance, listening to their chatter. She had a different feeling, something felt off, no real reason, just a hunch. Inside, Lin Moyu had finally cleared the whole place out. A total of 108 caves, 60 of which were crawling with small spiders. Wonder if that's fixed or random. Guess I'll find out next time. He checked his experience bar, level 18, 70%. One dungeon run got him 70% of the way to the next level, and that was his first time through, figuring things out as he went. Seriously efficient. Lin Moyu figured that next time, he'd get the same amount of experience even faster. Time to take on the boss. He moved through the caves, heading deeper into the dungeon. The spider lair was massive, 790,108 caves making up a maze-like map. If Lin Moyu hadn't built a complete mental map, he'd still be wandering around lost. Even so, it took him another 10 minutes to reach the right path to the boss. There was an opening blocked by a thick spiderweb. His skeleton warriors hacked at the webbing with their broadswords. The web was incredibly strong, tough to cut through. It wasn't that the skeletons weren't putting in the work, they just weren't suited for the job. A mage could have cleared this in seconds. After 5 solid minutes of hacking, the skeleton warrior finally cleared a path. Click, click, the skeleton warrior moved ahead, and Lin Moyu followed. They passed through the tunnel and finally reached the end of the dungeon. In a huge cavern, he saw the instance boss. It was a giant spider, maybe 25 feet across, its 8 legs stretched out like massive pillars. Each leg was about 50 feet long, almost twice the length of its body. The legs had downy hairs that glowed softly. One swipe from those things could easily kill you or leave you crippled. The boss spotted Lin Moyu as soon as he entered. Lin Moyu summoned his skeleton warriors. All 112 charged forward with their broadswords. He used his analyze skill on the boss. Spider King, leader monster. Level 21. Strength 5,000. Agility 3,500. Spirit 500. Constitution 4,000. Skills, spit web, acid, wind scroll. It was stronger and faster than the mutated turtle, but its constitution was weaker. It had 3 skills. Lin Moyu could deal with the first 2, but what was this wind scroll? The Spider King opened its mouth and shot a massive web. Skill, spit web. The skeleton warriors dodged, but some were caught by the falling web. Trapped, they swung their swords, trying to cut themselves free. The spiderweb was unexpectedly strong and held them fast. The Spider King used the skill several more times, trapping over a dozen skeletons. By then, the warriors had reached its feet and started slashing. Some jumped high, 30 feet in the air, and came crashing down. The Spider King scurried back, trying to avoid the attacks. Suddenly, a red flame flashed and hit it on the head. The Spider King screamed, then, its head was covered in red light, and shackles appeared, its speed doubled, skill, soul flame. Skill, slow curse. Lin Moyu joined the fight, interrupting the Spider King's actions while cursing it. The skeleton warriors jumped onto the Spider King's body and used their skills. Skill, frenzied strike. The Spider King's defense was much weaker than the turtle's. It took heavy damage. It thrashed wildly, its 8 legs sweeping back and forth like clubs. At the same time, it spewed a foul-smelling green liquid, ability, acid. The green liquid was highly corrosive, and it sizzled when it hit the skeletons, creating puffs of smoke. Lin Moyu saw that the skeletons were taking damage. Gotta finish this fast, Lin Moyu thought, urging his skeleton warriors to attack more fiercely while continuously using Soul Flame. The Spider King was getting more and more injured until finally, it screamed. It suddenly shrank, coiling its 8 giant legs up like a python. The knife-like barbs on the legs faced outwards, and the Spider King started spinning like a top, sweeping the room. Skill, wind scroll. A gust of wind suddenly swept through the cave. The skeletons were blown away, crashing into the walls, their bones cracked. That was a powerful skill. The Spider King stopped spinning and rushed towards Lin Moyu. A skeleton warrior hurried to Lin Moyu's side, grabbed him, and jumped into the air, avoiding the attack. After spinning 3 times, the Spider King finally stopped. The skeleton warriors swarmed it again. They were all a little damaged, bones cracked, but it didn't affect their attacks. Lin Moyu wasn't worried. He'd seen the skeleton warrior at level 1. It was just as beat up, like something dragged out of the dumpster. They were better now. The sound of metal on metal filled the cave, mixed with the Spider King's screams. The Spider King suddenly jumped up and hung upside down from the ceiling. It kept screaming. The cave started to shake, and holes appeared everywhere, with small spiders pouring out. They were packed together, a swarm of spiders. The Spider King fell back to the ground, commanding its army. Lin Moyu smiled. You're sending yourself to die. Soul Flame flashed, and the spider died instantly. Boom! 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 The cave exploded in a chain reaction, like fireworks. The explosions only stopped when Lin Moyu's mental power was nearly gone. The Spider King was on the verge of collapse, its legs mangled. It couldn't figure out what was happening. How was it getting blown up? The skeleton warriors finished it off, killed the Spider King, experience plus 190,000, obtained a silver level weapon, the Spider Dagger. Obtained a low-level monster crystal nucleus. Spider Dagger, silver level, agility plus 40, constitution plus 40, assassin skill power increased by 8%, usable after level 20. I was at less than 1% when I came in, now I'm at 81%. A full clear gives 80% experience. Too slow, though. It took an hour and 32 minutes to break a record. Looks like I need to find the quickest route to the boss. I can't miss out on the points and contribution points from breaking a record. Lin Moyu left the instance. It had been 3 hours. The dungeon entrance was empty, unlike before. You're out. Did you clear it? Doesn't matter if you didn't. That dungeon's packed with monsters. It's tough solo. Several people spoke kindly. Everyone was a student at Xia Jing Academy, classmates. They might team up someday. They were friendly. Lin Moyu said softly, thanks, I cleared it. Seriously? You actually cleared it? Lin Moyu nodded. Yeah. That's amazing. You soloed a nightmare-level spider lair. That dungeon gives a ton of experience, but it's tough. So many monsters. Only a mage could solo that. Seeing Lin Moyu safe, Shu Han let out a breath. Glad you're okay. Chapter 80, is a new star, and there is a lone wolf. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Shu Han showed up just as Lin Moyu needed her. Hey, you know which dungeons give the best experience? He asked. He'd assumed dungeon experience was mainly based on level. Higher level, more experience, right? But that didn't seem to be the whole story. The level 17 mutation forest versus the level 20 spider lair, only a 3-level difference, but the experience was almost triple. Plus, once you mastered the dungeon, you could clear it even faster next time. Shuhan wasn't surprised. The spider lair is famous as an experience goldmine. It gives the most experience out of any dungeon below level 25. Experience goldmine, Lin Moyu repeated, finding the term amusing. Tons of monsters, sure, and each spider didn't give much, but it all added up. Shuhan added, but honestly, if you don't worry about using points, the spider lair isn't that great for experience. Oh, Lin Moyu thought for a second and got her point. The high experience came from sheer monster numbers. But finding and clearing them took time. This run took him an hour and 32 minutes. Sure, it was about 3 times the experience of the mutation forest. But he could clear the mutation forest in a quick 20 minutes, he could run the mutation forest 4 times in the time it took to clear the spider lair once. And he'd get more experience that way, so, why did everyone call the spider lair an experience goldmine? It came down to points. Running a dungeon repeatedly meant constantly resetting the cooldown. A basic dungeon ticket only cost 10 points, but resetting the cooldown was 40 points. So, for most people, the spider lair was an experience goldmine. Thanks, Lin Moyu said, genuinely grateful. Shuhan waved it off. No problem. You'd figure it out eventually. She could tell Lin Moyu wasn't too concerned about points. Lin Moyu followed up, so, is there a dungeon I can clear quickly, even if the experience isn't super high? Fast to clear, but still good experience, Shuhan tilted her head, thinking. Lin Moyu figured those kinds of dungeons were rare. Then Shuhan's eyes lit up. You could team up and run the Tyrant Desert large-scale dungeon. The dungeon hall had 3 special dungeons, 2 large-scale and 1 extra-large. Normally, a large-scale dungeon needed a team of 40. An extra-large, over 100, if you had good gear and were high enough level, you could cut the large-scale dungeon team down to 30 or even 25. That's how the carrying business was born. Students formed teams to guide others through large-scale dungeons, helping them level up. The person being carried just paid some points. Large-scale dungeons had tons of monsters and great experience, so you leveled up fast. Shuhan continued, the school's strict about dungeon levels for safety reasons, but large-scale dungeons are an exception. The Tyrant Desert is a level 25 large-scale dungeon, but you can enter from level 20, up to level 30, a 10-level range. Once you hit level 20, find a team in the team formation center. Pay them some points, and they'll guide you. After all, she added, the higher the dungeon level, the harder and more dangerous it is to solo. Lin Moyu understood her concern and thanked her softly. Shuhan giggled. No problem, I got the points. It's getting late, I'm heading back to rest. Ask me if you have more questions later. She used her teleport stone to leave the dungeon hall. It was late. Lin Moyu saw, already 9 p.m., he was tired after a whole day of fighting. Even though he'd just leveled up and his stats were maxed out, mental fatigue was still a thing. Plus, his skeleton warriors had taken some damage in the last fight. Nothing major, but it would take time to heal. Lin Moyu glanced at the dungeon portal and decided to come back tomorrow. He activated his teleport stone and left. The school was quiet. Lin Moyu walked back to his dorm. He couldn't believe so much had happened in just 2 days. Life was way more exciting than high school. High school taught basic world knowledge. They didn't cover anything about your specific job after you leveled up, and it was hard to find info on your own. That's because they didn't know what kind of job you'd get. Combat, support, or crafting. So, they taught general stuff. Only after becoming a combat class did you get access to combat knowledge. Same for support. Some support classes, like prophets or elf elders, still needed combat knowledge. But alchemists and pharmacists might never see a dungeon in their lives. Knowledge was strictly tiered. In a few days, new students would arrive from all over the country. Then the school would give lectures, covering what everyone needed to know. Lin Moyu wasn't in a rush. Back in his dorm, he grabbed some food. Ningyi had bought tons of supplies before the trial, and he still had some left. He summoned 4 skeletons and sent them to the summoning space, bringing his total to 116. Soon, the faint sound of his breathing indicated Lin Moyu had entered a meditative state. Meanwhile, in a secret location within Xia Jing Academy, 3 people were drinking tea. Bai Yuan smiled. See? I told you that kid was good. Meng Anwen sat opposite him. He cleared 3 rounds of Mermaid Dungeons solo and got all 3 Mermaid tiers this year. He slapped the Sakura country in the face, stomped on the Onmyoji, and made the Qianlong Academy guys look bad. So much for being trained by some fancy university. He showed you that looking down on the top student in the country is a bad idea. Meng Anwen smirked, looking at Hong Shan, the dean of Hongshan Qianlong Academy. His students had been humiliated, and he was clearly still salty. He scoffed, ignoring Meng Anwen. Bai Yuan laughed. I only put him in that trial to test him. He's too quiet. Keeps everything bottled up. Meng Anwen took a sip of tea. What's his talent? Did you find out? I asked. It's some kind of boost, but I don't know the specifics. It's probably significant. Meng Anwen raised an eyebrow. Bai Yuan took a sip of tea. It's a secret. Didn't want to pry. Did I ask about your talent? Would you like that? Meng Anwen would be pretty annoyed if someone questioned his talent. Good point. Don't ask, then. A boost talent is great, and it's been seen before. If his skills are strong enough, that talent could take him far. Bai Yuan grinned. I think he has a promising future too. And his sisters at the Creation Theological Academy. The old guy there took a liking to her and is training her personally. Whoa. Even Meng Anwen was surprised. Getting into the Creation Theological Academy was one thing, tough, sure, but not a guarantee of greatness. But being personally mentored by the old guy, that was a whole different level. Bai Yuan chuckled, slapping his thigh. I was shocked too. Meng Anwen asked, do you know why? Bai Yuan shook his head. Being favored by the old guy means she's special. You know how picky he is. Does he like just anybody? Looks like the human race has 2 rising stars. Meng Anwen sipped his tea. Hong Shan, who'd been silent, spoke up. He's a rising star, sure. But he's also a lone wolf. Lin Moyu talked too little and rarely interacted with others. He really did seem like a lone wolf.